art form is dealing with, it's kind of weird because you're dealing with, it's like commission work, but it's done way faster than a painting or something like that, you know. And you gotta work with the person's requests. Sometimes you have like a little freedom depending on the client, depending on like your level of your work, you know, how much trust you get. But it's definitely an art form, and I think it's just getting more popular. It's really almost just now being tapped into, probably in the last maybe 10 years or so. I used to get tattooed by a guy named Jude who used to work over at Mysterious Ink. This is back in '98. So just hooking up with him all the time, getting tattooed, and taking my friends to him. I mean, I would take people every weekend. I'd take him like 5 or 6 people, and then they would bring people. So he was always flooded with business just for me. So he's like, you want to paint or draw, you like tattoos, you should just tattoo yourself. So I'm like, okay, you know, I never really looked at it like I did drawing or painting at first. I was just getting tattooed, and then I'm like, oh, okay, I guess it is kind of similar, but you know, so I mean, I did a couple things with him, but we lost contact, and I ended up buying some equipment from somebody and teaching myself, and just went from there. And I always network with other artists, visiting tattoo shops, and you know, figuring out, you know, just how to get jobs and how not to do things. You know, working. I've been in Skincraft for about 2.5 years now. I was working at Bad Boys Inc. over in Ludlow, Kentucky, but the location was really, to me, it was just whack. It was dead. It was really, 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 really slow. I can't emphasize slow enough. But it was really slow. So I went back to just tattooing myself, you know, just doing my own thing, and then I've always gone in shops and bringing portfolios around trying to get a job, but this is not the kind of business where you can just walk in and say, okay, cool, it's great, you start tomorrow, but, you know, so just showing that you're really interested in the art form, that you have a little dedication, you know, that gets you a little further. Really, when I first started working here, I was just looking for a shop to work in. I didn't care where it is, but now after working here and working around the people and seeing how long they've been around and who they tattoo, and the people who I work with have been around for, I mean, anywhere between maybe the past 10 to 20 years tattooing in this city and tattooing a lot of people in the major tattoo scene. So I'm really thankful to be working here, honestly, around the people that I work with. As far as tattooing in Cincinnati goes, there is a lot of tattoo artists in Cincinnati. And Cincinnati has a really profound tattoo scene that's been around for a while. A lot of the people who work, I mean, even here, it's in the North Side area, between North Side and the Clifton area, and maybe little parts of northern Kentucky. Everybody has been around for a long time. I won't say everybody, but most of the shops have. It's growing a lot more, and there's a lot more underground tattooing in the city, but I think that's, hopefully that'll be less of that and more professional work. I mean, me myself, I'm gonna start tattooing underground, but I've always wanted to work in a tattoo parlor, and that's what I did. So, and now it's usually really starting to get to really see the real picture of tattooing. I've been able to travel outside of Cincinnati and see the difference between Cincinnati and maybe New York City, or Cincinnati and Atlanta. And New York City, as big as it is, and you know, people might think that everything's great there. The tattoo scene in New York City, I don't think it's as good as it is in Cincinnati because of being so fast-paced that a lot of the people, a lot of the artists are really just trying to get paid and live, versus Cincinnati, cost of living is a little cheaper, so you can afford to kind of be a little slower about things and really take your time and do some really impressive artwork. I think in general tattooing was pretty underground when it started out, but you know, you have a professional tattoo scene that's legal, and then you have an illegal tattoo scene that's usually in somebody's house or somewhere like that. And most of the time it's pretty bad work that comes out of somebody's house or underground, you know. I think as an artist, if just somebody who's responsible enough to be clean, I don't really care personally where they tattoo at myself, but you know, the law does. You know, there's people who've been tattooing underground or in their house or at a private studio or something like that. It's not necessarily legal, who do amazing stuff, amazing work, and they just like the privacy, you know. then eventually they usually get them a little spot, and it's legal. It's just their own little thing. But I think that reality TV has kind of messed up the tattoo scene, because a lot of people see it and they think, oh, I can draw or I can trace, so I want a tattoo. So you have all these people who are tattooing. They just order a little kit out the back of the magazine or off the internet, and they just start going at it. They don't know the importance of bloodborne pathogens or first aid training or really just basics of tattooing at all. And most of the people in that scene don't respect tattooing, and they don't respect the pricing. You know, you'll have a difference. You'll have clients who come in, customers who come in, who will say like, oh, I got this name, but it was only $10. Whereas here, you get the name, it's going to maybe start at 40, 55 bucks, you know, something like that. And the customer's going to be like, well, why does it cost so much? I got this for this much. And you're like, because you got it at somebody's house. One thing, the person's not paying taxes, they don't have to pay a percentage, and they're just doing it because they want to mess around. You know, whereas you're getting tattooed in a tattoo shop, even something simple as a name, tattoo artists are going to take that as artwork. And it's an importance, and there is supplies that we pay for, there's sterilization, there's training classes we take every year. A lot of us have art degrees, you know, a lot of people put a lot of time and effort into taking tattooing extremely seriously, and that gets spoiled by people who don't really care what they're doing to people, or don't really care about tattooing in general. They just want to make a quick buck, you know. I'm like, find another hustle.
Right.
That's how I feel.